Welcome to the LANCave where we're living as nerds. Give me just a moment to fix my camera while I send it over to Owen.
Hey, I'm co-host. Owen. With me, as always, is Patrick.
Yeah,
is
co-host extraordinaire.
Is Patrick.
I'm gonna get there. And dramatic. I swear I'm waiting for the computer. I'm just gonna loop that GIF though.
That's cool.
Yeah, waiting for the computer on this one.
Follow remote.
Oh, that's gonna be good stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna fix my gain here in a second. For some reason, the camera resets every now and then, but that's what happens when you do a live show. You just watch as the magic of technology makes me slightly prettier, or at least you can see me. So that's something. We're here. We're giving you gaming news like we do every single week, with or without, but usually with a couple technical difficulties here and there. And it's been a week. It's been a good week. It's been a hard week. Whatever. Hope you're hanging out. Hope you're. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm a little tired. It's been a.
What's going on?
I'm a little tired. I mean, I'm feeling all right. I got my second dose of the vaccine. I'm feeling okay on that. Just tired from life, and
liberty
interesting.
And the pursuit of happiness.
That's right. And speaking of that, yesterday, or the day before, was the first time I've worn jeans in like almost a year, if not a year.
I try and bust them out. Like just to feel somewhat unlazy. We leave the house on like a Saturday morning. I try and. I'm still in Texas, so most of the time it's more like shorts and stuff. But like during the week, though, I go pick up the kid from daycare, and it is all joggers all the time. Like I'm super lazy when I roll up in there. I'm sure that there's other parents have been judging this guy. That's like, what is this guy picking up? Like, what is this homeless man? No, it's not. I have nice joggers, but like, what is this guy just picking up his kids, looking like he hasn't been at work all day, where everybody else has always got some kind of dressed up? But how'd they feel? Did they have the button problem? Were they worn in jeans?
No, they were good. So they're actually brand new. Because I know. So I ripped the backside out of my previous jeans by just, I guess, squatting. I guess it just couldn't contain my derriere. So ripped just by that. It had like a.
I'm sure your wife appreciated that.
She thought it was hilarious, but except if I wore it like in public, because it was like a vertical rip that just showed my boxers through it. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna wear this for yard work in the backyard, and that's about it. Like, or if I need to like go like put out the trash. I ripped it, threw them away because it wasn't something I could salvage, and and then I realized that I had not purchased jeans. That was my last pair of jeans because I had I've got some work clothes that were like khakis and stuff that I haven't worn. I got shorts, I got workout pants, I got pajama pants, and I went this long without apparently having to wear like jeans. So. Occasional slacks, but nothing too crazy. And I was just like, I should go to dinner. I should wear pants. And I put those on, but.
It's good to feel. It's good to feel like you tried sometimes. Most of the time, I'm not because I let the growth come in, and I really do need a haircut right now, even though there's not much left up there. But just to feel like you put in 30 seconds worth of effort instead of just sliding them on. David says he can't hear you.
I think I just fixed that. David, let us know if that just fixed right there. There's a macro that's supposed to unmute. It did not do that. So hopefully you can hear us now. But
there
either way, I got local recording going. I mean, I got our Zencaster recording. So
possible that like Facebook missed that entire like beginning of our conversation.
They could have. Thanks, David. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
And I even said when we started recording that I normally like to check the sound, and because I heard myself, I let my guard down, and I was like, "We're fine," and we were not fine. So it's always good to at least have somebody in the audience, so feel free to join us Wednesday evenings around 7:30 Central.
Yeah, I do the same thing like every time I start a Twitch stream, and like I feel like that's probably the most boring like 4 or 5 minutes at the beginning of every stream, which gets edited out for like content later, but it's like test test. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, test test like over and over and over again. But yeah, and I got to censor myself there. Like last week, get to censor you. This week, I have to censor me. But yeah, David, totally glad you took a study break to hang out with us. We'll catch you on the rewatch as you usually watch afterwards. Man, what have you been playing lately? What have you been doing?
So, I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about my 12 for 12 this month. Get it out of the way, because I did do my normal COD session last night where I just had to get in there and shoot some stuff. But otherwise, I've been playing a little Trails of Cold Steel on my PS5 via my game drive. So my WD 4 terabyte game drive runs like a dream.
Yeah.
So this is a PS3 port to PS4 on my external drive. Load times are nothing. I don't get what it is that the PS5 can do when the game is running on not an SDD. It's an HDD. It's a high speed HDD, but I don't get what it is that processes it to where it loads so quickly. But if you're watching the video, you can see that it is very obviously a JRPG, as I've been known to play a few times in my life. I really now want turbo mode. Again, if you're looking at the screen, you can see turbo mode being displayed in the top right. So what they added in there is all you have to do is click L2 and you can move, I think it's like 4 or 5 times faster throughout the game world. So you're just clipping along, and then also your battles are like the turns, because it's a completely turn-based game, so it's not real time, so the moves just go off. And while sometimes you want to see some animation, for the most part I don't care. I just want to play the game. And so I'm able to go at the turn-based thing at a much higher pace. So like I said, this game came out on the PS3. It's
and that's that movement right there where it's like jittered right there.
Yeah, right? I'm just going really fast. And then I'm walking, and so I do have to sometimes like stop, because what it is how you engage in the world is your enemies are actually out on the overworld, and then you can engage in a fight, which takes you into a battle screen. But what I like about this one is if you sneak up behind them, you can smack them with your sword, and you start out with an advantage, and B, they have slightly less HP than than Max.
That's really cool. Yeah.
I haven't played any of their games before. This is apparently like a spin-off from a previous game. It's made by a company I've never played any of their games, called I'll probably butcher it. It's called Neon Falcom. They also made the Ease series, which I have some Ease games that I've bought on sale, but I still haven't gotten to yet.
Same.
I don't know. Yeah, I bought Ease 8 at some point because I heard it was really good, and then I bought Ease on the Vita. And so this is the first one of their games that I'm playing, as far as I know. Now, they could have played some other things. I'm looking through their list right now. Dragon Slayer, sounds familiar, but I don't think I ever played that. Legend of Heroes is the spinoff. So I think this one's like called The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel, and then they had Legends of Heroes Trails in the Sky was what they had previously. And so it's some kind of connected world, but this is the start of a brand new story. It's very typical in the fact that you're in high school, so I'm kind of putting it as like a combination of like Fire Emblem Three Houses and Persona, because you're in a old school high school. So you're playing, obviously you see that in the video, I have swords. One person does have a shotgun, and so there is like some gunpowder and stuff going on. It also reminds me a little bit of Valkyrie Chronicles in that sense, in that there's like both some modern weapons but also magic and old school. I've put about 10 hours in so far. One thing that is super frustrating to me, and now I'm going to have to make sure I'm paying attention on like every PS5 game I play. Tell me, what do you expect to happen when you hit the PlayStation button on your controller.
When I hit the PlayStation button?
Yeah, so you're playing your game and you hit the PlayStation button. What do you expect to happen?
Okay, so you're not, and just saying, we're not talking about the options, but we're not talking about the start. That start,
No.
what I call start, it's the options. You hit the PlayStation button. I expect for that PlayStation pop up, for the PS5 to be like, it's either I get them confused, either the vertical or the top or bottom horizontal bar that comes up, and it's like, here's your game thing.
Yeah, and then what do you expect to happen to the game?
I expect the game to be in essentially a suspended mode.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so with this particular game, and now I'm going to have to look. I don't know if you get anal about this. I really hate when when there's an in-game timer that keeps on ticking when you're paused. Can't stand it. Bugs me. And so I discovered that on this game in particular, if I hit the PlayStation button, my in-game timer keeps on running.
So I guess part of this may be that I don't usually hit that PlayStation button and go do stuff. I usually will throw it in sleep. I don't use my PlayStation for media and that kind of thing. If that's what were you doing that, or were you just hit the PlayStation button, you go take care of the kid, go get something to eat, come back, that kind of thing?
I do it because whenever I pause, I don't want the in-game timer to run. And so if I want to go to the bathroom, or if I want to go get a drink, or if I want to go get a snack, I throw on the PlayStation button so that it suspends the game.
So do you do it so that way, and I'm trying to figure this out to play therapist with you, do you do it so that way that afterwards when you look and you're like, I've spent 16 hours, I know that was 16 hours of gameplay?
Yes.
Okay.
I want an accurate, or at least close to accurate measure of how long I played a game. If they're going to bother to put the in-game timer. It's only if they put it in there. And it literally, I think my picture's hiding it right now on the stream. But if you were to look in the bottom right corner of this window, there is just a timer running whenever you are in the menu. And so it just stares me in the face that it's 6 hours, 27 minutes, and 32 seconds. And I suspended it, or what I thought was suspending it, and then I came back and it was 6 hours, 35 minutes. I was like, what? How did I gain 7?
A second? Yeah, I moved you for a second. Let's see it there. But yeah, I mean,
it's only whenever you're in the menu. And so,
okay.
So right now we're playing the game right now.
Yep. And it's incrementing.
Yeah.
And it's very dim, by the way, but it's there.
Yeah, right here. So it would be in this menu that I'm saving in. So 1 hour, 8 minutes, 54 seconds. That timer keeps on running in my suspended state. So that was rather frustrating. But aside from that, I'm having a really good time.
Yeah, because now I'm like, I don't know if I've ever caught it. Do other games do that, or is it something that may be happening we just don't realize?
It's nothing that I've ever paid attention to, because on the PS4, it's not. On the PS4, it doesn't pull up a media bar. The PS4 goes back to the PS4 home screen.
Correct. Yeah.
On the PS5, it's the media bar, and so now I'm going to be checking. I have not played another game on the PS5 because I've just been playing this game all week. I'm going to be checking though, because it's just a weird thing. I want to. If you bother to give me an in-game timer, I want the in-game timer to be accurate.
I guess the only in-game timers I'm thinking of, I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil, but there's a timer in there for your save states, right? Mm-hmm. So your save state, and then when you beat the game, when you beat the game, because you should probably beat those games are fun to beat.
Sure.
I love the puzzles, but the afterwards it's this is how long it took you to beat, which people are posting and they're complaining because they're look, I beat it in 8 hours and 55 minutes, and I don't really look / care usually about this is how quickly I beat the game. So usually I guess it doesn't really matter to me, but I totally get that if you're wanting to track, if you're wanting to say I've put X amount into a game. I totally get that as a metric that's right in front of you, because like you said, PlayStation 4, you hit that PlayStation button and your game has been suspended.
Yeah.
Now, if you hit this is something I just haven't tested, because when you hit the PlayStation button and it brings up the bottom menu, is it different than if you hold it down and it goes into the home screen, if you will, where you got the top bar?
You have to go back to the home screen to suspend it, and so that's what I've been doing. And so it's not a thing that I take several long breaks where I should be putting it to sleep. It's the fact that I just don't want the timer running while I'm in the bathroom, or if if I stop to talk to my wife for a few minutes, I want the game to just kind of represent it. And it's only on games, again, people probably think I'm crazy, right? It's only on games if you're going to put that timer and it's just running. Every time I'm looking at the menu, I can look down at the bottom like, man, I've been playing this game for 10 hours. And I was like, there's no way I've been playing it for 10
just don't put the timer in there. Put the timer in like Resident Evil. It's like when you save, it's like, here's the timer you put in there. Because then I don't like running clocks at all. That's actually one of the reasons which obviously in this case, it's different because it's just clocking constantly. Yeah. But it gives me anxiety, and that's one of the reasons why, the first and second go of Majora's Mask, absolutely hate it because the pressure of that 3-day clock of what is it actually, 30 minutes or whatever it is in real time. I can't even remember. Maybe it's an hour. I can't remember. But that clock, even though it's no, all you have to do is go up to this point and then you're good. I wanted to tangent off that, but I want to let you finish.
Yeah.
On this game.
No, that's fun.
Before I do that.
I went off on a big tangent about an in-game timer. So aside from that, though, obviously you can tell it has been ported, but it looks solid on PS4. I've talked about this a few times that since 13 Sentinels, finishing that in January, I've had a really hard time just connecting with any story-based games, and so. Yeah. This one is scratching some kind of itch, and I honestly think the turbo mode helps. So if you're watching the video right now, I turned off the turbo mode, and you're seeing how slow these things are crawling, and you see here's the hit animation where it's so slow. On turbo, it's going 5x, and so I'm not having to sit there for that because I think certain Final Fantasies, like Final Fantasy 15 and 14 and now 7R, I think have kind of ruined me on turn-based combat unless it's a tactical RPG, because I'm just let's go, let's fight. I still want the RPG elements, but I don't want to just sit there. But having turbo on this game has allowed that to kind of not chug as much, and we're still in this lull. Nothing's really on this list that we're going to talk about, but I mean, I realized that I guess 7R is we get Ratchet and the 7R next month, and so right now this is fun to play. I'm hoping I can finish it. I haven't finished a single one of my 12 for 12 games. This is the longest I've played one though, at 10 hours, and so I got it on sale. Honestly, though, most of these don't go on sale very much. If you look at 2, which is also an old game, and 3, also an old game, they're both $30. I would say if you want a good turn-based JRPG, it really seems like it is one. Wait for it on sale. Go over to PS Deals. I think they also released these on Switch now. And then, like I said, on my PS5, it's running off the external drive, 0 load times, and so that's also nice.
That quality of life with that speed, honestly, I don't mind the logic, I don't mind the structure of a timed RPG. I don't mind that in battle systems. But even Final Fantasy VII, you hold down was it R1? I can't remember. You hold down that I think it was R1 in the OG Final Fantasy VII, and it even that then goes through battle quickly for you. But in this case, it seems like it, even with, setting up magic and everything is quick. I think with Final Fantasy VII and some others, I can't wait for the next Dragon Age, to see how they do these types of battle systems, because it's quality of life, keeping the tradition, keeping the structure of an RPG, but it's it's 2021. I gotta get in, get out, and I want to these games are about the story. I'm exploring, I'm fighting, but I want to know about the story. I want to progress the story and figure out what's happening. The battle is to lead to the next actual story aspect, at least in these types of games. So
yeah,
cool.
And so
it's good,
it's solid. Hopefully I can finish it before I keep messing it up which one's which. Before intermission comes out. I think it's so dumb that they've named the PS5 upgrade something on Final Fantasy VII. But before we talk to me about the Resident Evil 8. I've heard mixed things.
I love it. I love it. It is it's obviously different than 2 and 3 and all those OG, because I'm old school Resident Evil fan. 7 was really, really good, but it was good, different. It set the game series on a new course that isn't bad. There's a lot of people trashing it online because they don't like the first person perspective.
I mean, wasn't
I've
it first
liked
person in 7?
It wasn't 7. Seven's
Okay.
it wasn't 7, and I think 6 is basically a first-person shooter kind of thing. But like to me, like the third person, I think the remake of 2 and 3 have done a great job in like giving that third-person perspective. But first person, this is different than the third person. To me, it's a little bit more. It's scarier, in my opinion, when something's coming at you and you have that first-person view, and you have this vampire thing lady who's coming at you. I don't want to spoil anything, but like with fight, and especially with like fights like this, it's a little bit more fast-paced. And coming from playing 2 and 3, this has been exhilarating. Even in times where I'm like this is a boss fight and I'm trying to figure out how to actually do damage to her, and the wife has been actually watching me play and kind of helping out a little bit. I've been trying to get her to play, see if she wants to try it, but it's too tense for her, or I think that she thinks it's going to be. But like the boss battles are basically puzzles or quasi puzzles. I really like it. I like the setting. Lady Dimitrescu is the tall lady that everyone talks about.
Sure.
This is not a spoiler, but because if you've saw the trailer and like the very beginning of the game kind of sets this up, like she's not the main villain, and people thought she was the main villain based on some of the trailers and because of people throwing the memes out there and everything. She's not the main villain, so she's in the first house of the 4 houses that you go through. And I say houses as in like castles versus other environmental areas, if you will, that are connected to the village.
Zones.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
How far are you in, would you say?
I am about 6 hours. And again, where people were like, I beat it in 8 hours and like just under 9, or I've seen 9 to 12 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like that far in, and I think I'm like a third of the way through. I will say I did a lot of backtracking. So there's a boss kill there. I did a lot of backtracking where I couldn't figure out something, and something was like really easy and really apparent. So there was a little bit of backtracking that extended it. Plus, I'm not going in for like speed. I want to try to get everything in a room if I can, or so I'm not speeding through it. I like the environments.
You don't feel the need?
I don't feel the need. No, I don't. But that does segue into one of our topics, though, because apparently they're getting some heat for some things that maybe they got a little too influenced. I'm gonna start with this picture. If you're watching this, there is an enemy in the game. Again, this is non-spoilery. It is an enemy, but I don't think it spoils anything that happens in the game. On the left-hand side, if you're watching, this is from a movie called Frankenstein's Army. And on the right-hand side is the enemy from Resident Evil. That's pretty darn similar, in my opinion. I'm not saying it's like verbatim, but it's pretty darn similar. Propeller-faced, engine-faced thing. There's some others that people were pointing out that I don't think are as important, and I grouped all of them because I was like, I'm going to go through these. That's the one that I think is the most like, yeah, that could be copyright. People were bringing this up. I don't think that's very, other than the shape, kind of has this hammerhead thing on the top. I don't think it's that similar. Even less similar. I don't think that really. And then we got this, nowhere near similar. But did find, and this is where I wanted to just kind of quickly say, sometimes you get inspired. And this was a photo from the 1930s. And that's almost the same outfit. Verbatim. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? That's some inspiration. I wouldn't consider that like copying, but that's very heavily inspired in my opinion. The others were maybe inspired by, but I don't know. I don't know if they've got a case. Sounds like they may be doing some lawsuits, but we'll see. Not in this, but in the Frankenstein's Army case.
See, that's the thing where I don't understand art copyright very much, because it's a thing of I don't know what, like, asset wise how much you have to owe, because I know from tech law recently they've discovered like you can completely like rip off video game design, because unless you're just straight copying their code, and even then I think they've ruled that there's not necessarily a patent on code. Perhaps you literally like the thing like, and I'm no legal expert, so don't take me for it, but I've seen things where like basically like some of the stuff that's kind of holding the industry where it is, or a lot of the time, it's just the fact that it's guarded. Like, you know, whenever it comes to like some of this code for like, say, video game consoles and other things, it's that when it gets out, it's out, and there's nothing that they could really do about it, because there's no like intellectual property or something on code. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that's changed recently, but I wonder what it means in the art world, where that first one does look pretty clear. And if I was going to guess, if somebody was going to take that to court, it's literally like they'll settle, and it's like, all right, well, here's some money.
They'll probably settle, and you're right, that first one where I'm like, that's pretty darn similar. Some of the others I'm like, not really.
I didn't see it.
The last one that I showed, I just threw up there because someone else mentioned is like an inspiration where it's like, I don't know if that's even a famous photo, but it's like, it's also from almost 100 years ago. This is 1936, so we're talking about 85.
Somebody's gonna pop out of the woodwork and be like, my grandfather took that picture.
But also art is,
how dare you?
Art and video games are art, and it survives and it thrives, and it on those the iteration and the copying. I mean, when first person shooters back in my day, I remember when first person shooters, like, it was Doom, and then people were like, oh, that's a Doom clone, and then that turned into first person shooters. And I was a kid when they used those phrases, but I remember people using those phrases, and you can see like news things about games like the early, like 91 or so, 92, and people are like, oh, this Doom clone of this. And that's now a genre. The Souls-like games are now kind of a genre. Roguelike is kind of a thing.
I'm surprised Zelda, like, they're referred to as Zelda clones, which a lot of people that make Zelda clones get offended by it, but it's like, this is clearly a Zelda game. Like, nobody else does a game exactly like a 16 or an 8-bit Zelda. Whenever you see that, it's one of those things you just know when you see it. Or the upcoming game, Kena, Bridge of Spirits, which I am super pumped on. It's one of my few pre-ordered games, and that was literally just because it's an indie developer and I just wanted to support them. So I was like, here's your money for the PS5 version. But all the way down to how she shoots the bow and stuff, I'm like, this is very Breath of the Wild inspired. And whenever you look at Genshin Impact and you look at how much, like, obviously the gameplay is not, it's a completely like RPG based thing, but in terms of the visual aesthetic, the what do you call, like, the turbo meter, everything about that is completely Breath of the Wild. And so I'm surprised that there's not a Zelda, I don't know what you would even call it now, like,
I don't know either. I mean, it's not a, like,
because there's really like Metroidvanias, Soulsborns,
and we use those terms to like describe something. Even like Zelda-like would be a good one. Like roguelike, people have been griping about Returnal, which the more that I see, I'm like, I need it. The more that I see on Returnal, I'm like, I'm gonna get this game eventually. I'm gonna have to play it. But there are people who have been posting about, like, saying, well, it's missing features. I can't believe it's missing a save feature. And I'm like, that's not how this game works. Like, have you not played the game? Have you not played, like, and the answer is no, they haven't played the game. But like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, I know I talked about this on the show last week, but like those games, you do this, it's the same, it's similar. You die, you start back at the beginning of the level. In Returnal, you start at the beginning of the game. But I've been playing a couple roguelikes on my Vita, and that's how it works. You die, you start at the beginning. You restart every single time, and that's how the game is structured.
I think that people have a case for it. I mean, it's really put me off. Like, I was already put off by the roguelike anyway, but it's really put me off of it because the runs unless you're just awful, which I probably would be in Returnal, you're talking about 2 or 3 hour runs. And so literally the only thing you can do is suspend your game and turn it off. And we already talked about that last week, where like if you have auto update turned on, or if there's a storm or whatever, I do still see a thing for save states. But the thing that you go back to is that the developer said no, it's our game, you don't want to play it, that's fine.
I don't want to save state per se, but using a similar system to what the Bloodborne what the Soulsborne games use, I think would benefit it, which means it's auto saving in the background. You don't have access to those, but it's auto saving in the background. And if you die if you stop the game, if you suspend the game, whatever it is, like if you do lose power, if the game does update, well, you have an autosave that's around where you were in that run. I think that's not game breaking. As we've mentioned, it's a single player only game. So who cares if someone milks and exploits a way to do that? People are going to do that anyways.
What you playing over on Vita?
I've been playing some Metal Gear. I was playing what's wrong? Like, I do have my Vita with me. Let me grab the name real quick. That was loud. I've been playing that Metal Gear Acid, playing the Trials. Excuse me. There's a BMX game on there. If you haven't played that one's fun. One of the Trials games, and then there's a I don't know why I'm blanking on it, so I'm bringing it up here. But it's a 2D platformer roguelike, like fantasy style thing.
Fantasy style thing.
Yeah, one of those things.
Why are you bringing that up? I pointed
Rogue
to
Legacy. Legacy. Because it's,
how do you know? Yeah, how do you
I
know?
know. That's why I'm like, why am I blanking on this? It's fun, but it's a roguelike. I love that, man. So I have it put up in a box, but I have my Zelda 3DS, which I got when what was it? I think it was.
If you ever want to get rid of it, let me know. let your man know.
I don't think that.
So that's actually what happened. Is a coworker of mine hooked me up with this one. This is the one that came with it's either Spirit Tracks or Phantom Hourglass.
Okay.
One of those. And they were like, do you not want the game? And I was like, that game sucks. No, I just want the DS. And plus I already own it anyway. But I really just wanted having a Zelda piece of merch, which I don't own any of like the official ones outside of Amiibos. And so he sent that over. Obviously I paid him for it. And so get to go back over to Rose Colored Gaming. They have a specific stand that is labeled for this collector's item. And so of course I'll be buying that over. I want to say my friends, even though I've never talked to them, but I should start talking to them over at Rose Colored Gaming. But
totally should. Sorry, not to interrupt. That is the it's the Link Between Worlds version is the one that I have. I don't have the 25th anniversary. So it's the gold one that has the Triforce on it, which I love. Apparently it's being sold sealed. That there's like a sealed version of that's selling for like $700.
Oh, it's the one that has like the Triforce on both sides, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't get it at the time. The one I really want, should I ever come across it, is the Majora's Mask 3D.
Yeah.
One where it has Majora on the shell. That would be dope. But I did digress there. I'm glad that you're doing Resident Evil 8, and hopefully they didn't copy too much. Capcom's a giant company, though, so they'll be fine.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Speaking of things that you probably won't get your hands on unless you're lucky, which, we got lucky early, but PS5 stock is not going to look any better as PlayStation. Who was this? I had it in front of me. Sorry, I grabbed the quote and everything.
Push Square, Jim Ryan. Who was saying it?
That's what I was trying to remember. It was
Chief Financial Officer.
That's right. Yeah, CFO
Hiroki Totoki.
Yeah, saying I don't think demand is calming down this year, and even if we secure a lot of more devices and produce many more units of the PlayStation 5 next year, our supply won't be able to catch up with demand. This is true for PlayStation. This is true for Xbox. This is true for anything trying to get those chipsets. It's becoming a problem. Apparently, Ford has a ton of Ford trucks and other vehicles that need their computer systems, and they don't, like, they have everything else ready. They got them sitting in a warehouse, but they can't get the chipsets quick enough or at the pace to actually sell their cars. That's how it's like impacting not just us gamers, but it's impacting so many things. I think that was it Nvidia and AMD were actually AMD recently was saying that their production, their demand, I think is 30% higher than what they can like put out. So like it's basically like even if they could produce say 30% more, they would still be at a null state, meaning you're still screwed. You still can't get anything new out because the demand is literally that high. That's why Newegg and others are doing like raffles. GameStop had the PlayStation 5 out today for sale if you go through the queues. But yeah,
there was a Sony Direct queue as well. That's where I want to be like, I want to be clear with people who are annoyed, because you have the right to be annoyed. It's absolutely fine. But they reported at the same time, at least at the end of April, that PS5 had sold 7.8 million units and PS4 to the exact same amount of time. So in the time that PS5 sold 7.8, PS4 sold 7.6. So it's outselling the PS4. So like if people were talking about like I could get a PS4 by this time, yeah, you could, but that's saying they're selling more of them. And if they had the parts, they would probably still be out. Now there's probably something to be said that the demand is probably helping a little bit. And people are like, well, scalpers, they've already nipped that. They're only an estimated 10% of PS5s that have been sold have gone to scalpers. Now, while that's still 750,000 PS5s, that it's still saying that the majority of these sales are going to people that want them. You can get one. It will take some effort. They're literally going on sale every single day. It's just hard. You have to put in a little bit of effort. And I know that there's probably somebody out there being like, well, I put in an effort every day and I still haven't got one. I'm not trying to rub it in your face that I have one or anything like that, but
you got to keep it up. You got to keep up the
Otherwise,
fight.
wait. Honestly, until next month, unless you really wanted Dark Souls, you're fine. But I get that it's going to be a little bit more antsy because if Returnal was your thing that came out last week, and now the Final Fantasy VII upgrade on PS5 is coming out, and on that same day, I don't even know if they're calling it DLC, but Intermission comes out on June 10th, and then Ratchet comes out as well. They better not come out the same week. Do they come out the same week? Because that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I can't remember offhand. I really hope not. June 10th on Final Fantasy VII. No, they don't.
Rift Apart comes out June 11th, bro. That's awful. I'm upset.
Why you gotta do that to us?
I don't know what I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll probably play Ratchet because that's like the first legit PS5. But it's a thing of luckily like Intermission. So what we're talking about, if you don't know what we're talking about, Final Fantasy VII Remake is getting its PS5 upgrade that they are calling Intergrade for some reason. Do you get that word?
I don't understand why. Like it's the same thing with Kingdom Hearts, and I'm sorry, Nomura throwing these weird names. I don't need it. Like you don't need to give me a subtitle for the DLC for the port upgrade to PS5. Like just PS5 edition, or just call it Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't get it.
And so that does include the 60 frames. Let's do it. And then the graphics mode absorbed all into 4K. So it's already at 4K on PS4 Pro. So I don't really know what that is unless they're saying that it's like that.
It's got to be textures because I'm assuming that it was 4K checkerboarded on PS4 Pro is what I'm going to guess. Maybe it's 4K native textures or something. It definitely looks crisper. We're doing this in 1920, so don't 1080. What's wrong with me? In 1080 for anyone who's like nitpicking here. There's lighting differences and everything, but the textures definitely the textures and lighting look so much better. The HDR looks better. And it's a pretty game anyways. I just feel like it just bumped it up a little bit.
I'm just running if that means that they're going to run it at 1440 for 60 frames or
for
not.
60?
I can't find it. They just say that it's going to favor frame rate. That means maybe it's not locked at 4K. Either way, if you own the game from purchasing it, you do get that free PS5 upgrade. And then if you bought the deluxe edition, that should come with intermission. I'm going to be testing that out because I had the deluxe edition that's sitting up there on the shelf that came with my DLC codes, but then I bought, as anybody might recall, because I'm so impatient, I bought the digital version so that I could preload it and then put my DLC codes in there. So hopefully I get my intermission for free.
I think it's going to be linked to those DLC codes. I think that's what it's going to be linked to.
I'm hoping so. Yeah. So hopefully I get intermission for free. If you didn't pay for the deluxe version, I think it's $20. Yeah. You could probably just wait for it on sale if you don't want to play it at launch. And then if you got Final Fantasy VII R with PS Plus, there's an intergrade upgrade that I think also includes intermission. Don't quote me on that one, but that comes out June 10th, and then Rift Apart comes out June 11th. I'm a little bummed about that.
Yeah. Now, so I'm in a similar situation because I have I have the legit physical version. I put those DLC codes into my account, but I also have the digital version of from PS Plus, and I'm hoping that essentially that DLC outranks it, and it's flagged my account as he has the digital deluxe version. The question of can I play that with my digital version? I'm assuming that would still work. I'm assuming that it can tell I essentially have a physical and digital copy of a game. We can't be the only people who splurged in this with this game or other games that have bought digitally as well as physically. So there's got to be a way.
Hope so. And so that's going to come out, and then along with the reason why we're talking about this, other than just this, is that so they were talking to Nomura, who's directing the game, director of Kingdom Hearts 3 among several other games, but he's directing this sequel, and he said that it's moving forward quite well, and that I'd like to perhaps make a proper announcement when timing is right. But the thing that he mentioned what was funny is like, Cloud is running through Mother Nature. You'll be able to enjoy a somewhat different atmosphere. So who knows, again, how far this game is going to go. And since I'm not going to spoil it yet. I think we're getting close to where I can spoil it. It's been about a year almost, but I wonder kind of what direction we go from here. But the fact that he said it's running nicely, I mean, I guess I wouldn't. No More is generally pretty honest. I feel like hopefully with everything running on PS5 now, we don't have to worry about different console versions. By the way, intermission is exclusive to PS5, so if you still only have your PS4, you're going to have to wait on that. Sorry about that. We'll tell you how it is, though.
Yeah.
And
it's been out for over a year, by the way, so I think spoiler territory, we're not going to do it right now, but I think that
when intermission comes out, though.
Oh, yeah, when intermission comes out, free game at that point.
Yeah.
No, I think that I'm really looking forward to the trajectory of the series. What I need to play, and I haven't been playing, I need to play some Crisis Core on here. We've got Ever Crisis coming out as well. I gotta play Crisis Core because I got that on my ready to play as well. But yeah, I think.
Do we have a release date on Ever Crisis?
Ever Crisis? I don't think so.
Just says 2022. That's the one that's doing the compilation, right, of 7? And the spinoffs. Yeah. And so that's 2022 so far. That's going to be iOS and Android, which I'm still going to play it because we got our backbones and our kishis, baby.
Exactly. So we can't complain about hand cramps and actually getting to use actual buttons. Because I'm sorry, I love my phone. I love playing games. The only games that I like playing on it though are games where it actually needs a touch screen. Other than that, I need to Bluetooth a controller to it. It just doesn't feel right.
If somebody designed, there's a game that I played a couple months ago. Dang, I feel bad for getting it, but it's designed for the touchscreen. You drag parts and you fix things by dragging the thing around. That's if the game's designed to do it. But if we're talking about clearly console games, obviously though this is going to be a mobile only game, and so I'm sure the touch will be fine. But hopefully they have controller support. This last bit of news in here, I literally only threw in here because it's one of my favorite games from 2015, and that's Life is Strange. And this actually made me a little sad. So Life is Strange, what you're seeing on the video is the upcoming one, was originally developed by Don't Nod. It's published and owned by Square Enix, so Square Enix owns the IP. Don't Nod says they're not coming back to Life Strange anytime soon.
Yeah, and it's sad to me, but at the same time, like I appreciate those creative juices, like making sure that like you don't run a franchise into the ground like Assassin's Creed, that you give it time to breathe. Because if you don't, this is what happens. I mean, Marvel's even at the point where like the pace of the movies and stuff that's about to come out over the next like 4 years, I think they're gonna have almost as many movies as the last 10 in Marvel. So like, if you don't watch your pace, there's a chance that you're gonna burn out. So I appreciate that in regards to like from a creativity standpoint. They were discussing other projects that they're working on. They've like as their code names because they don't want to like reveal what they're doing. But I appreciate that. Like this is, you know, it's like what's wrong with me? In any creator who's working through the same thing. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, it becomes a job. It does, the life gets just kind of wrangled out of whatever you're working on. And these games don't need that. You know, if you're going to work on something, you're gonna be able to tell if it goes from being art, if it goes from being a project of love to like trying to make some money. And if you're just putting out a game to make some money, that's, you know, we don't want to be there for that, especially with Life is Strange.
Yeah. So the new one, True Colors, is being made by the same people who made Life is Strange Before the Storm, and that's Deck 9. Deck 9's been around a long time. I think they actually worked on some random stuff, like they did the Ratchet and Clank collection on PS3.
Okay.
So they did some ports and stuff back in the day, but good for them that they did well enough with Before the Storm, and they're also the ones working on the Life is Strange remastered collection, which I think is just going to be 1 and 2. I don't know why you're remastering 2, to be honest with you, but that was just a little sad. It's just only because they were the original ones to make it, and 1 and 2 I think were significantly better than Before the Storm. I still haven't finished 2. I don't know if it's just they have a slightly better writer or what. We'll see how True Colors is. I'm obviously going to buy it.
Yeah, no, it's a series, one of those series that I'm like, I should get into this. The wife and I played a little bit, and I was like, I like this. She gets in and out of moods of specific games. Sure. And there are certain ones that I'm like, I want to experience this with her, or ones where I'm just like, I'm doing this.
I think it's the kind of game that's fun to play with a partner or a spouse, or if you have like a roommate who doesn't really want to play games so much. So those who don't know, it's narrative, decision-based games. So that means it's not really heavy on a lot of gameplay decisions. It's mainly you have conversations with people and you get to affect the outcome of the story. Now, there are only certain outcomes in this particular game. If you want to play some that have some bigger outcomes, you can play things like Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human, which are made by Quantic Dream. Those have a lot more branching paths than Life is Strange, but I have a special place in it. It's one of the first games that I played with my now wife back when we were dating, and so it's just, it's always stuck with me. And the first one, even though there's some cringy writing, you can tell that it's written by like Europeans trying to speak like American slang and stuff, and so it definitely has that. But it's a fun series, and it's fun to play with somebody else because you guys can make that decision together. It's like, do you want to be mean here? Do you want to be nice? Do you want to hit on this person? That kind of cheesy stuff, but still fun.
Yeah, speaking of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is out, and I'm like, that's another one that I'm like, I want this. I don't have time to play it right now, but I've been trying to get the wife into Mass Effect, and I'd like
you would
for
think
her.
that she'd dig it.
I would think so, and I'm hoping the upgraded version would help because I first said, hey, let's play Mass Effect, and she's like, okay, and I put on Mass Effect 2, and she was like, no, I need to play the first one. I'm like, the first one didn't age very well. The combat's not. So she was like, well, I don't want to play the second one without playing the first one. And then she tried playing the first one and just did not dig it. So I'm hoping that and it was specifically the combat and the, basically the gameplay. The story's amazing though. So I'm hoping that the remaster / remake, because it's supposed to kind of put them all on the same level when it comes to that gameplay. So I'm hoping that'll help. I have
that already put on like PS deals for a sale price. I know I'm not going to play it right now, especially because if you wanted to play like all three, they're so long that we're talking over like, I think probably 100, maybe 150, 200 hours of game.
Yeah, there's so much there, especially if you're doing all the campaign side quest stuff.
So I'm hoping to pick it up on Black Friday. Hopefully get it for around $30, and then it'll probably be a thing where if the wife's interested, she'll be able to play it because she likes Dragon Age a lot. I think she doesn't like Mass Effect as much because of the space setting. That's just, other than Star Wars, that's not really her. She likes the kind of space fantasy as opposed to space shooter.
Sure. And this one, I mean, I liked it because and it in some ways, not every way, but I think you'll get this. Playing Mass Effect 2 is actually my first Mass Effect game, and there were a lot of things in that game that reminded me of Star Trek, specifically like Deep Space Nine-esque kind of stuff with the different cultures.
Yeah.
And immediately I'm like, you have fleshed out alien cultures, not just like, oh look, he's got a crab on his face and he's got this. It was like, no, they have cultural norms. They have obviously genetic differences, but like they have different things that separate them, that make them unique and make them interesting, which is why I love Deep Space Nine, because it really got into that kind of stuff where everyone has to like deal with each other.
You mean the best Star Trek?
The best Star Trek, yeah, that's exactly right.
Hands down.
It's so good. I got to send you a link, by the way, to there's a YouTuber, Red Letter Media, who I absolutely love. Famous for doing like reviews about the Star Wars movies and the Star Wars prequels and how much they hate them. But the main person on there, they've gotten huge now, but they released a thing recently. It's them doing a Star Trek quiz. Because one of the guys is actually, a couple of them are huge Star Trek fans, and one of them like gets it, but he's not as big of a fan. He doesn't know it, so they're legit doing like an unscripted like quiz show, and it's insane how deep that Star Trek lore goes. Like, I'd probably be able to do some stuff when it comes to Deep Space Nine, but like Next Generation, OG Star Trek, I'm not going to be able to pull these names out. Like, who created the computer system on the original Enterprise? I'm like, nope.
Like, I can tell you who voiced it.
Yeah, Roddenberry's wife, who I always forget her name, but
who also played Loxana Troy.
That's right.
I can tell you that kind of stuff, but I don't. Okay, I've discovered I'm really bad at those.
Okay, well, I'll give you one. Who was the host immediately prior for the Dax symbiote? Immediately prior to Jadzia. You should probably know this one.
Curzon?
Yep. There you go. So that was one of the ones in there. So I was like, Deep Space Nine, bring him. But yeah, it's that's one of the reasons I like Mass Effect though, is because going into it, like it felt like that. It didn't feel like it was copying Deep Space Nine, but like it was that deep in regards to the cultures of the different characters and actually different species and everything. I love it.
I'm happy for a lot of people that are going to be digging into that, and it's a game where like I've played a little bit of 2. I didn't play 3, and then 1 just was not good to play, so I just never got it. So I definitely will be picking it up later in the year. It's just there's just no, like, I want my next purchases. I bought Pokemon Snap, and I've been trying to be a lot more conscious this year about where I'm spending my next. I'm going to be pre-ordering Rift Apart Ultimate to support Insomniac and get all my suits and get my preloading. I'll probably be actually doing that this weekend whenever payday rolls around, and then I'll be paying for intermission if I have to. I better not have to. And then Mario Golf at some point is going to be in there too.
Mario Golf. I've got Ratchet. I've got Ratchet.
That's June 25th.
Yeah. So yeah, June's gonna hit heavy. I'm doing the same thing. I have Returnal and Mass Effect are on my list too. Whenever they go on sale, more than likely it's going to be Black Friday. I'm going to sweep through some of those Black Friday deals, hoping to pick it up for 30 or so. I really like if they do one of those like Best Buy and others that do the buy two get one, that kind of thing. Like whatever works the best. When it comes to that, I've got a list of games where I'm like, I'm going to either hit them before or at Black Friday, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to race to get these games because I have so many games to play. I've Resident Evil 8, like I said, that I'm playing through. I'm probably going to play through it a couple times. I may end up replaying 7. I'm playing Resident Evil 3. Because I'm actually going through, like, in addition to, I had to jump and play Resident Evil 8, but I've been going through the Resident Evil games chronologically. And then you got Ratchet coming out. There's so many good games coming out that I'm like, I can't just keep buying them and adding them to my collection. And I think mentally putting it in that list to say I'm not buying it now, but it's going to happen soon, I think that helps my brain. Because it's not instant gratification, but it's like, it's going to happen. It's okay. It's like I'm telling myself, it's fine. You're going to be okay. You're going to get to play it. Just enjoy what you got, and that's over here.
So I'm looking through, all right, here's how this is going to slap for me. It's going to slap me in the face really hard. So we got Ratchet, June 11th. Then Mario Golf is June 25th. What's that one? Is it Scarlet Nexus that looks super dope? That's coming out. Yeah, Scarlet Nexus. That's by Bandai Namco. That also comes out June 25th. That also hurts. So that's the same day as Mario Golf. I'll be playing Scarlet Nexus over Mario Golf for sure, unless my wife wants to play it. July 16th. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD on the Switch will be insta-buy. Then August, I already have Kenna Bridge of Spirits. That's August 24th. September, Life is Strange True Colors. Probably Tales of Arise is also interesting to me. I'm waiting to see more about that. And you know what's crazy though, dude? We haven't even had E3 yet. That is 4 weeks away.
Good. Thank you for the reminder. I can't believe it's only 4 weeks away. So I was like going further into
Saturday,
September.
June 12th.
Yeah, going further into September. Deathloop is probably up my alley.
Yeah, for sure.
Stray. I am like, I don't know. I know people are gonna love Stray. I don't know if it's for me. It's coming out in October. But I'm really curious, pun intended on the cat there. And then Ghostwire Tokyo's coming out. There's a lot of stuff coming out, and I'm still waiting for Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War. Like I'm waiting for
God
more.
of War's not coming out.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm waiting for more info. Like show me what you got. Like I want to know what's happening, but at the same time, I don't want to know too soon. I don't want it to be a situation where it's like, all right, this is going to come out like in the next 2-3 years.
At this point, I think Horizon's coming out in November, and I think we're going to find out about that at E3. Even though Sony doesn't have an E3 presence, I still just feel like we have to hear from Sony in June. That would just makes it, maybe not. Who knows? Since they're not going to be there. That's going to be an interesting thing. Like that's what now 3 years of no Sony. They didn't do E3 last year, so we'll see. If you also follow Jeff Keighley on social, his Summer Games thing is going to be kicking off too. So he's going to be just working with different people for different presentations, but definitely follow that handle because they'll be announcing pretty much anything that comes out. So, backlog, it was really nice to know you. I'm still going to be doing that 12 for 12, but starting on June 10th, it's not like June 10th, I think, is literally just going to be 12 for 12 and then brand new games going all the way to September, dude.
Yeah, no, totally. And next week I'll talk about my game in 12 for 12, which I don't know if I said the wrong one on our show last time, because I don't know if I said it.
You did.
So I meant Outer Wilds. I guess I said Outer Worlds. I've played Outer Worlds. I keep doing that. I meant Outer Wilds
because I thought we were both doing RPGs.
Yeah, you said that, and like I remember, like right after I got off the show, I'm like, I don't think that's an RPG. And then I was like, oh, I misspoke. Played that.
What's funny is you even put it in the game title for your spree.
I did, and I had to fix it afterwards. I keep doing that. Those games came out like within like what, a 2 or 3 month period.
They were right next to each other.
They're so similar in name. They're different. They're very different. They both have to do with space. So outer space, brain just connected those, and for some reason they're just married completely. Did you play Outer Wilds?
I did.
Okay, because I love it. I need to find time to just go through it and beat it. Because I don't know if you beat it, but like I really like a lot of aspects to it, and I feel like I kind of want to just double down and beat it, but at the same time I'm playing Resident Evil, I'm playing all these other games, but I'll talk about that next week.
It's a game that was too smart for me. It's a thing where it, just like where you have we'll talk about it. I'll talk about it next week with you. I don't want to spoil, but there's a reason that I didn't finish the game, and so I want to hear your take on it too.
Yeah, we'll go into that next week. I hope you're playing some games off your backlog. There's a lot of great new games coming out. Probably, I don't know if you're searching for your PS5 or your Xbox. I don't know where you land on that. If you're a PC gamer trying to hit that AMD or Nvidia, you should get an Nvidia if you're going to be doing any streaming. But wherever you are when it comes to gaming, whatever you're doing, I hope you're enjoying yourself. I hope you're doing well. Check us out next week when we talk about other cool things.